All right, so we can give a start to this event. Welcome. Welcome to this MarinTrust side event on traceability and innovation in the marine ingredient industry. Can you hear me okay? Yeah? Okay, good. Okay, so this is the fourth event that we have done so far, parallel with IFO, with the IFO conferences. I remember the first one that was in 2017 when we were in Washington. And in there the main thing was to increase the awareness of IFO members about certification programs. And we presented about the different certification programs that exist in the aquaculture value chain. We invited ASC, BAP, Global GAP. We also invited MSC to this. We discussed about improvers program, recognition of standards, and all of that. Now we're going to focus on a specific point, which is traceability. And the aim of today, will be, we want to share and discuss. And we're going to have some different, speakers here, which we're going to discuss about how to implement innovative traceability on the ground. And here we will focus on the path towards full innovative traceability. And we will have a presentation from Frank Tersoli from the Global Dialogue for Seafood Traceability. And here he will explain about the importance of innovative traceability, the importance of this topic that we are doing, and the importance to move to this type of digital traceability. Then we will have a presentation from two Peruvian companies that have been very proactive. This is Centinela, Pesquera Centinela, which is a fish meal producer that have joint efforts with VitaPro, which is a feed producer, both Peruvians, who they have tested their traceability systems, and they're going to explain the experiences about how they tested and what they have found in those exercises. After that, we will have a panel discussion in which Libby Woodhatch will be moderating it, and it will be it will be Eddie from VitaPro, Eric Saavedra from Centinela, myself, and Frank Tersoli, in which we're going to have discussions about different topics about traceability, and we also will have questions from the public. And the second part is about the evolving global framework for seafood traceability, and we will have Eva van Heukelum, did I pronounce it right? Good. For the Global Seafood Sustainability Initiative, the GSSI. She will provide a brief explanation of the GSSI tool, but also the seafood map, and how sustainability solutions can provide a common language and visibility for seafood sustainability and traceability. So it will be a big, overarching framework that Eva will explain, and I will then show how MarinTrust fits into it, like from the perspective of the fish meal plant. Again, we will have questions from the public. Right now, I would like to basically talk to you about what is traceability and what is the importance of traceability. So as you know, traceability is the ability to trace products from one point to another one, from the origin to the end consumer, or from the end consumer back to the origin. This one is that they know all the different activities and the processes within the whole chain that happens in there. So they need to know all the transactions and movements. But why this is important? Why traceability is important? It is because it's important for food safety. Food safety to prove legality and also to verify the responsible sourcing. We have done a lot of consultations with the stakeholders, and there were 4 keywords that were coming from those when we were mentioning traceability. And it is compliance, integrity, responsible, and sustainable. So compliance is because we have regulations within countries, big regulations, such as the FDA, for example, from the United States. We have regulations, bigger regulations there, which is the EU, for example, regulations that within the countries. Also certification expectations that have to be complied, and the most importantly is the market expectations, the retail sourcing policies and all of those that they demand. Integrity supports the product with the control over the production and further processes and all the activities. This is to avoid or reduce the risk of any wrongdoing that can happen to the product. Could be intentionally or unintentional. And responsible and sustainable was because this ensures ethical sourcing and reduce the risk of IUU. But what it is that MarinTrust is doing with traceability, what we have to do with it. So traceability is actually at the core of the MarinTrust work. Here we have, introduce you MarinTrust. I know that many people know here, but briefly, MarinTrust is a program that we have 3 parts. One, it is the main standard, which we cover fisheries, but we also recognize fishery certifications. But the main unit of certification is the fish meal plant. So after that, it goes to further processing. Once the marine ingredients, fish meal and fish oil, goes out of the fish meal plant, it goes to further processing, refining, repackaging, and that is where the chain of custody comes into place. So all of those have to be traced. But not only that, there are fisheries that are not, they don't have the requirements that the standards demand to get the approval or get the certification in other standards. So the Improvers Program, this is a program that will allow these fisheries to get that improvement, get to that point get to that level that the standard demands so they can achieve certification. This is in a period of time in which also the fish meal plant is involved, because I mentioned in fisheries, the fish meal plant must be audited. So, that the marine ingredient industry is working hard to satisfy the market expectations. And this is how we're working it. We are linking everything. And MarinTrust aims to help the industry become the leader in traceability. Now, how are we going to do that? How are we going to become leaders? First, we need to create awareness. We need to increase the awareness of this. We're going to provide training and educational material to certificate holders, to applicants, to auditors. And all of this will be accessible via our website. And the aim, really, for this is to make all MarinTrust sites, whether it is a fish meal plant or a chain of custody, to be able to, and also the Improvers Program sites, to be able to have the fundamental necessary awareness and understanding for this type of traceability, innovative traceability, to be implemented within their operations. Innovative traceability, for example, has been now introduced in some standards, the chain of custody standard for version 2 chain of custody standard of MarinTrust. We have included elements of innovative traceability at the basic level, but we are also in the development of MarinTrust version 3, in which we are including this too. So it's something that is coming. And also, one of the things that is important is that we are working we're working to make the industry operations, to make the marine ingredient operations and activities more visible. And this is because there is overlooked in this part, there is a lot of fisheries or aquaculture. There's always that, and there is the one part in the middle that is overlooked. And we need to make sure that all these operations, all those activities are actually visible, to make sure that everybody understands what the requirements are for each, and all the responsibilities are actually clear, because nobody knows where the responsibilities lay in this. There are huge expectations sometimes for this part that is invisible, and this is the link between the fisheries and the aquaculture sector. So we have been working with various stakeholders on mapping and testing to start making this part of it more and more visible. And one of those, as an example, it is that if we reduce the size, it's not taking the whole value chain, but just one part, how to make this thing visible. It is, for example, the byproduct side of things. That's how we link the marine ingredient sector with food. Byproducts are, as you know, heads, guts, frames, all the different, let's call it waste, but it's not waste. Let's call it, it's a raw material that comes from, secondary raw material that comes from direct human consumption. But, and as you know, in accordance to IFO, 1/3 of the world's production of combined fish meal and fish oil comes from byproducts. And you know, fish processors and fish meal producers sometimes may not talk to each other, or they talk, but they have limited interactions, limited information is passed. You know, you have a fish processor that gets the fish, and then it goes like that. It goes, the fillet goes to one area in which information goes up to the human consumption side of things. But the rest of it goes into a bucket, and it goes to the fish meal plant. The fish meal plant requests information about it, but it's waste. Why do you need this information? There is no sometimes incentive for it to give that information. So what we're trying to do is, like, you know, building with technology, we can build a bridge between these entities with the marine ingredient and the production of and the food industry. And we are actually aiming, you know, MarinTrust aims to be the intelligence center for marine ingredients. But how are we going to do that? How are we going to become, you know, the intelligence center for marine ingredients? That's a good question that we're going to explore. However, before explaining how we're going to do that, I would like to introduce Frank, who will give us a background on what innovative traceability means, as well as explaining what is the role of the GDST in the seafood industry. Frank.